My apologies, YouTube. My internet went out, which fucking blows. But I'm back. So we were just basically, I saw where it went out. Basically reviewing last week's card. It was a bloodbath, folks. There's your summary. There's your spark notes. UFC Fight Night, Song versus Gutierrez. First fight of the night we got is Ryan Amanda taking on Talita Alencar. Ryan Amanda and Talita are both making their debuts. Ryan, on their resumes, Ryan Amanda definitely carries a lot more experience than her to win this debut. Doesn't mean there's not hope for Talita, but I think Ryan can get this done. She is the favorite according to the sports book. She's the minus 162 odd favorite. Looking at the types of finishes, I probably won't go chasing any sort of line, but 8 submission victories for Ryan. I think Talita has a submission win. Yeah, a few of them. 3 submission wins. So, I don't know. I'm going to say this one goes the distance. I'm going to go with the more experienced fighter to get it done. Just be more savvy in this matchup. Probably a no bet for me, but I'm going to roll with Ryan decision. Taira taking on Carlos Hernandez. Tatsuro Taira, highly touted prospect. I think he's undefeated thus far in the UFC. The jiu-jitsu's ridiculous. And then he's pretty good on the feet too. Pretty complete fighter. Is a very technical striker, but the jiu-jitsu's really next level for Tatsuro Taira. Carlos Hernandez, he's coming off of a win against Bondar. That's kind of weird to have a time less than 5 minutes, but a unanimous decision. And he's a good fighter, but I think this is set up where Tatsuro's gonna be the winner. I think he's better, anywhere this fight goes. Carlos Hernandez is a very good grappler, but we've seen Tatsuro, and he's just incredible on the mat. So I'm gonna roll with Tatsuro Taira. I'm curious what Carlos Hernandez's losses look like. He does have a submission loss, and that was Alan Nascimento. So perhaps that submission is live. We've got 7 submission victories for Tatsuro Taira, and he's just a beast on the mat. So he's a heavy favorite at minus 575. Please don't. Okay. I thought my internet was going out again. By submission is plus 100. It's definitely a huge improvement over the minus 575. What is... the submission or decision is minus 500. Oh, geez. I don't love that line either. Fight to go the distance is basically a pick'em. Man. I kind of like the Tatsuro Taira submission. Odds makers like it early. Look at that. Round 1 submission plus 275. Mission at plus 100. The next fight we've got is Luana Santos and Stephanie Egger. Luana Santos is coming off of a win, I think, of Juliana Miller. And, we've seen Juliana Miller now at least 2 times in the UFC outside of Tough, and she's just I just don't think she's very good, right? Doesn't have any striking. Speaking of another fighter who doesn't have striking, Stephanie is definitely wants to put this thing on the mat. I think she's like a judo artist. Wants to definitely get up against the cage, throw her opponent to the mat, have control, and that's the recipe to win for her. So, and Luana Santos has really decent grappling, but I mean, the discrepancy on the feet, the difference between these two fighters, Luana Santos, I expect to be the much, much better striker. So that's where I think her advantage lies. I think that's why she's the favorite. And then the recipe to win is just don't get taken down in this fight. I think she'll be okay if she gets taken down, but I like Luana Santos on this line at minus 155. I think she's going to be the sharper striker. Like I said, let's see Stephanie Egger's losses. 2 submission losses, so no knockout losses on her record. So I guess I'm angling for more of the decision for Luana Santos. Odds makers like this to go the distance. And I'd have to agree. I think, like, maybe I'm interested in chasing a KO at plus 650, but I like Luana Santos on the money line for this fight a lot. Steve Garcia taking on Costa. Melchizedek Costa. I'll listen tomorrow and hopefully remember it moving forward. Taking on Steve Garcia. Yeah, I mean, Costa looks impressive. Costa looks really, really impressive. Who was he in there on short notice against? Oh, Thiago Moises, but then fought Lingo, beat Lingo. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a very good fighter. Steve Garcia, I'm not really sure. I don't think he's going to be better in the striking department in this fight, and I think that's primarily where this fight is going to play out. And I just think Costa's the better fighter. So give me Costa to win this. Just want to look at his win buys. 7 KO wins, 6 submission losses, 7 decision losses. Dead submission loss to Thiago Moises. And then looking at Steve Garcia, a knockout loss, a submission loss, otherwise 11 KOs. Man, I think this is a tough matchup for Steve Garcia here. Yeah, I think this is a tough matchup. So I'm gonna roll with Costa here in this fight. I kind of like the finish, the knockout, but I mean, did we just see Steve Garcia only has the 1 knockout loss, which came to Mahashate. Who then proceeded to lose to. Okay. Gimme Costa. I think he could get the KO, but money line in this fight. Maybe use it as a round robin opportunity. What's Costa? KO or decision minus 165. Little bit improved there. Costa KO or submission minus 115. Little improved there. Probably you'll just go money line for Costa in this fight. Young Sung Park taking on Shannon Ross. Let's look at what Shannon Ross is doing. He's getting knocked out. Yeah, 3 straight knockout losses. Oh and 2 in the UFC. knockout loss to Salvador, no problem on Contender Series, but man, he ain't beating Hyung Sung Park, who just seems like he hits so hard and he's so good. I mean, he's a heavy favorite for a reason. I think he's gonna knock out Shannon Ross. I'm sure that's what the line indicates. That's gonna be my pick. Park's at minus 650. Ugh. The KO's at plus 110. That's actually better than where I thought it would be, considering how we've seen him, Shannon Ross lose. Does Shannon Ross have submission losses? He's got 8 losses. He does have 1 submission loss to Steve Erceg. And then Park does have 4 submission wins. So maybe we just go with the inside the distance as like a parlay piece. But as far as a straight up bet, I just, from what we've seen from Shannon Ross, like, the knockout makes sense. Song Kanan taking on Kevin Jousset. This one I've been kind of back and forth on. I'm a big fan of Song Kanan. I think he's a really excellent striker. I think where Kevin Jousset is probably going to be better in this fight is the grappling department. But, I mean, all in all, I think this is a very winnable matchup for Song Kanan. Kevin Jousset keeps his chin up in the air. He seems like the striking defense isn't that great. Song Kanan carries good power in his hands. And, I think Song Kanan, if he still is the underdog, is going to be my pick. He is the underdog at plus 136. Hey, I'm kind of liking the knockout at plus 320. I mean, yeah, we also know Song Kanan fought Ian Gary, so like, yeah, there's a lot of strikes absorbed per minute. But who's he fought in the UFC? Beat Bedoya. That was a great win. I forgot about that. Lost to Machado. Got beat up really bad there. Got knocked out by Griffin. That wasn't good. But I think he's actually pretty good and strong. And just how Kevin Jousset fights, and from a stand-up perspective, I think he'll be there. Jousset is 9-2. I just want to double check something. Does have a KO loss on his record. Jack Della Maddalena, doctor stoppage round 2. No harm in that. But yeah, I think Song Kanan can get this done. Jung Young Park taking on Andre Muniz. Man, I really like Jung Young Park. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he's super competitive, fights hard. He does stuff you appreciate when you're wagering money on a fighter. He's never not shown up for a fight. Andre Muniz, I think he's a little on the older side, and he's coming off of a couple of losses. No, he's only 33. Put together a super impressive run, but then lost to Brendan Allen and Paul Craig, which is, it happens, I guess, with that when you're at that level. But Jung Young Park is just, I don't know, there's something of, he's super aggressive, has high pressure, good cardio, is a good offensive wrestler. Muniz has incredible jiu-jitsu, don't get me wrong, but we've seen Jung Young Park go out there against some pretty good jiu-jitsu artists and stay in control. He's on a 4-fight win streak. this is a tough fight. I love Jung Young Park. But I don't know. I don't know how badly downgrade on Andre Muniz's stock after losing to Brendan Allen and Paul Craig. Like, I think those guys are really good fighters. I think Brandon Allen's incredible. Big fan of his. Paul Craig, little less so, as far as potential contender. Give me Jung Young Park. I think he's just gonna, if you're gonna, he's like a tough fighter to win minutes over, is what I'm thinking. Jung Young Park. And he's just gonna lay it on Andre Muniz. I want to take a look at Andre Muniz's losses, 5 KO losses. Jung Young Park does have some pretty good ground and pound once he gets it going. Jung Young Park, 2 submission losses, 5 KO wins. He's been getting the submissions, UFC. Muniz, 15 submissions. Give me the turtle, the Iron Turtle. Where is he? Jung Young Park. Minus 185 favorite. I think he can get it done inside the distance, but I'm not super confident. I kind of like the KO, like a ground and pound kind of situation, but super confident about that. But I like Jung Young Park, I think, at minus 180. I don't know. Probably a good no bet, but I'm going to go with Jung Young Park. Tim Elliott stepping in on short notice to take on Sumu Darje, who's coming off the loss to Matt Schnell. Prior to that, let's just look at the Sherdog. I see Malcolm Gordon there. I'm not a big Malcolm Gordon fan. All 5 losses are submissions. Wow. I don't know who that is, but Malcolm Gordon, I don't know. Not super impressed with that win. Matt Schnell's a tough opponent. I don't know. 13 knockout victories for Sue. But Tim Elliott's good. I think he was beating Makayev before he got submitted. I think he's a really good fighter. Beat Victor Altamirano. Beat Tagir Ulanbekov. I mean, I think he's a really good fighter. He's coming in here on short notice, but give me Tim Elliott in this fight to win. And I think, just knowing that Sue has 5 submission losses, like all 5 of them are losses. All 5 of his losses are submission. I expect the odds to kind of reflect that. Yeah, Tim Elliott submission plus 250. I think Tim Elliott's like an output submission grappler, high output, potential submission I think is in play here. But probably wrestling, offensive wrestling, being super active, having high output. That's where I think Tim Elliott's going to live in this fight. So I like the submission or decision as well. Like the line, I think at minus 166. We have seen Tim Elliott get knocked out before. Does have 13 losses. Only 1 knockout, though. Holy shit. That was back in 2009. So the dude's tough. He's got great cardio. Give me Tim Elliott to win that fight. Minus 166. I love that. Actually, line. All right. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Jamie Malarkey. This is a good fight. Jamie Malarkey, great kickboxer. Haqparast, really good striker. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to primarily play out on the feet. Jamie Malarkey, I'm a big fan of his. I he had an interesting fight, I want to say, his last time out. He lost, I think. Oh, not McDessie. Oh, Naimov. That's who I'm thinking of. I think he was looking really good against Naimov before he got caught. Yeah, for sure. But he's a really talented striker. Extremely talented striker. Can mix in the grappling, which should be useful against Nasrat. Nasrat's super dangerous, though, on the feet. I think he carries a lot more power than we're going to see from Jamie Malarkey. Nasrat, 9 KO victories. We haven't seen one, though, since 2019, and I don't know if he's going to knock out Jamie Malarkey, but I think this is a good, entertaining fight, and man, I kind of want to go Jamie Malarkey. I'm going to pick Jamie Malarkey. This will be my second underdog pick. I'll go with Jamie Malarkey in this fight to win. I think he can outstrike Nasrat. He's just got to be careful of the power. That's really all it comes down to. He's got to be careful of the power. He does get hit a lot. The more I'm talking about this seems like a bad idea, but I think Jamie Malarkey could land more strikes. I think he could get a cheeky takedown or two to take a round, and he could prove to be the minute winner, even if Nasrat is landing the power shots. So give me Jamie Malarkey as an underdog pick. Odds makers like this to go the distance. I tend to agree. I'm kind of angling for the Jamie Malarkey decision here. So, co-main event, we got Anthony Smith stepping in on short notice to take on Khalil Roundtree. I mean, Khalil's been fun to watch lately. He's been really catching his groove. Just a brutal Muay Thai striker. Yeah. He is sick. And I think the clear advantage for Anthony Smith is I mean, Anthony Smith really struggles with the low kicks, and I think that's going to be a problem against a fighter like Khalil Roundtree. I think there is a clear path to victory, though, for a fighter with a high IQ like Anthony Smith, and that's going to be the grapple. I don't know how Khalil Roundtree is going to honestly handle a grappling match, so I think he's a terrific fighter in this. If this stays standing, he's going to really hurt Anthony Smith and probably knock him out. But, man, it's just looking at, like, even his last fight, which was against Ryan Spann, like, he got a split decision. But, like, he definitely was winning early in that fight. Ryan Spann was pretty good. For some reason, I thought Ryan Spann took that fight. My pick was Anthony Smith, but I do remember feeling kind of greasy after that one. But, yeah, I think Anthony Smith is at plus 170 is just kind of an interesting line for a guy who doesn't really grapple in Khalil Roundtree. So I'm gonna roll with Anthony Smith, plus 170. Might take a little hedge with Khalil Roundtree and give him some minus 125 for the KO. Are you kidding me? Man. Like, this is a step up in opponents, too, for Khalil. Coming off of Chris Dawkins. What has Chris Dawkins done? Got his ass whipped out of heavyweight, and then he got knocked out at 205. So, I don't know. I just feel like Anthony Smith has the recipe to beat this guy. So I'm going to roll with Anthony Smith. You thought I learned my lesson from last week, going with the underdogs. Song Yadong taking on Chris Gutierrez. Song Yadong is a terrific fighter. Let's just look at his track record so far in the UFC. You know, got beat up by Corey Sandhagen. That's not a big deal, but otherwise it's just been extremely, extremely good and impressive in the UFC. I mean, just really well-rounded, but the power, the striking is super sharp. 9 KO victories, 8-4 in decisions, and then you've got Chris Gutierrez on the other side, who's just, like, I think he's teammates with Brandon Royval. I forget who the coach was. They highlighted him last week for V Week and, you know, cancer survivor, but Chris Gutierrez, these leg kicks are brutal. You know, you're going to see some of the best leg kicks from Chris Gutierrez. Just absolutely brutal. You can bring him to the body. You can bring him up high. Interesting, you know, the boxing approach of Song. Like, I'll be interested to see, like, round 1 just play out. I think this is a fight that should end inside the distance, in my opinion. Chris Gutierrez, 10-4 in decisions, no knockout losses. 2 knockout losses for Song. I mean, they're just both really dangerous fighters. Is kind of my point. I think for a 5-round fight, this is going to end inside the distance, and I'll be interested to see how Song deals with the leg kicks, because they're pretty brutal, and I don't think there's a quick way to condition for them. It's just something you got to drill and practice, and you got to deaden your nerves and your. Chris Gutierrez, Brandon Royval, just watch how they throw kicks. It's absolutely brutal. They're not afraid to go shin to shin with anyone, and that's just like you try to check a kick, they're smashing your check. It's kind of messed up. And they both, I think, use the ankle wraps too, so they're kicking, like, you know, where the kind of foot meets the bottom of the shin there. That's a really good fighter. I think he's going to be, you know, Gutierrez outside of that leg kick, which is a game breaker, is maybe a little more one-dimensional than Song Yadong, but I'll definitely be watching round 1 and those leg kicks, man. I don't think I'm going to drop minus 380 on a Song Yadong money line play, parlays, round robins, none of that, because I really want to see how he responds to the leg kicks. The knockout's only at plus 120. I mean, Chris Gutierrez at plus 900 for the knockout, like that, to win. Probably a knockout. I think he's a good player. So it says this Sunday, Raiders, various people within the Vikings organization. Against the Raiders, various people within the Vikings organization will be supporting Israel on the feet. And then this guy says, remember when Cap was taking a knee against police brutality and people said politics had no place in football? I don't know. I thought it was less. I didn't really think it was a political statement, right? Well, like, no one supports abuse and brutality. It's just like, how are you gonna get your message out there? You know what I mean? So, I'll avoid the other topic there. Alright, what are we doing? United States trendings. What's neighbors? That's funny. That's not how you spell neighbors. Oh, Malik Neighbors. Oh, he lost the award for best college receiver by 1 point. Man, I want the Bears to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. That's who I want them to pick, but if we could get like a Neighbors on the team, and if we're, I don't know what direction we're going to go in. I'd like to keep Fields. Get maybe an offensive line, but like I want to get Marvin Harrison Jr. with a top pick. That's what I want to do. I want to trade back with a QB desperate team who wants Caleb Williams, who will be really good, but or Drake May, and I want Marvin Harrison Jr. Ryan O'Neal. Who's Ryan? Why is it always sports that trending? I mean, is that my fault? Because I'm like a sports junkie? That it only shows me. Like, I want to see some, like, cool shit. You know what I'm saying? What is grok? This is what I'm talking about. I do kind of want to, I don't, so it's like a Twitter extension or some shit? Is that what we're saying? Yeah. Enjoy it to get access to grok. It's got to be an acronym, right? What do we think it stands for? Get real or kill yourself. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to mind. Oh, I've got XRP. We'll see. I think the SEC dropped their case against XRP, and I hope it runs, because shit, it hasn't been running. I feel like I'm averaging down still. Ken Griffin, like, I know what it is. This is me. This is my fault. Alright, entertainment. JoJo, don't care. Superman Legacy.
I got family.
Oh, you know what? You know what I've been really bad at the last year or so? Is like starting movies and never finishing them, and starting TV series and never finishing them. Like, I'll go all the way up to the finale and not finish it. Like, I did that with One Piece, I think, most recently, and Loki. I did that. I still haven't watched the finales of either of those. And then, like, 2 movies I just haven't finished is, like, The Flash and Blue Beetle. Like, and I've gotten through, I want to say, at least 3/4 of the way. But it's just like, it's one of those things, like, I don't want to rewatch it, and then I don't want to just watch something for like 20-30 minutes, but I don't know. GameStop is trending. Let's see what's up. Some Christmas stuff, fundamental analysis. Hell yeah, stacks. Well, what's the Cyclops? I don't know. Did Shohei sign? The Angels trying to convince Shohei to stay.
Kid sees an angel?
Yeah, he must. That's the signal.
Alright, we don't need to watch all that. Yeah, we'll see where he goes. So some news going forward. I am moving. So we got a house together. We're super excited, and yeah, we are moving. So in the new place, I will like have a new office and setup, but it's going to take a little bit of time to put together. So, you know, I'm not really sure how I'm going to approach it. We might just do it like me facing my phone camera for a couple of weeks, just till I get everything set up. And so we've got UFC 296 next weekend. Colby Covington, Leon Edwards. Vegas, that should be a great card. And then yeah, so just, you know, quality might be a little bit different for a little bit, but we'll get back to it. And yeah, I'm just super excited. So I'm moving tomorrow. All right, everyone, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.